Sam Elliott, 80, has never held back and is now exposing the names of 6 performers he hated working with. Sam has seen it all with his gravelly voice, cowboy charm, and decades of memorable roles. Behind the scenes, not all co-stars earned his regard. He's revealing what happened, from egos to rudeness. Who was blacklisted by Sam and why? The replies are very honest and surprising. Number 6, Jane Campion. Hollywood lives on drama, but rarely does it ooze so realistically from behind the scenes as when Sam Elliott, with his gravelly voice and cowboy image, criticized Jane Campion. Spark, her Oscar-winning film, The Power of the Dog. Elliott made a visit on Marc Maron's WTF program. Elliott, the Western genre's face, was blunt about Campion's picture. He stated that the movie constantly hinted at homosexuality and showed guys in chaps and no shirts. It was a pointed criticism that reverberated throughout Hollywood and beyond. Campion's picture of masculinity and repressed libido in 1920s, Montana definitely bothered people. Elliott wasn't concerned with critical acclaim or daring subject matter. He thought it didn't smell like the West. She's a great director, and I love her early films, but what does she know about the American West? She is native to New Zealand. That was the storm's center. For Elliott, who made his name in dusty boots and wide-brimmed hats, the West is more than a backdrop, a sacred space, lifestyle, and code. Even though The Dog was well received, he saw it as a polished outsider's view of a life of scripts, spurs, and saddle sores. His inflammatory remarks were personal. They showed a man zealously protecting a world he believes is being creatively remade without the muddy boots and silent anguish that make it real. Jane Campion, never one to back down, responded sharply and defiantly days later at the DGA Awards. How can I explain? A Variety interviewee shrugged. He was behaving badly. He's no cowboy. He acts. The West is mythical. Range space is plentiful. His response was more than witty, a philosophical jab. Campion went beyond defending her film. She resisted Western genre restrictions. Her message? No one individual, gender, or country owns the West. It goes beyond dust and duels, about humanity, silence, repression, power. Her deeper accusation was that Elliott's dissatisfaction may not be about the setting or plot. I suppose he said something sexist, Campion said. Look at Sergio Leone's excellent spaghetti westerns. No one disputes his relationship to the genre, but as a New Zealand woman, I don't belong. The point was valid. Westerns have long been filmed elsewhere. Campion said storytelling mattered more than region or gender. Elliott wasn't simply denying her genre connection, she thought. Her lack of manly, American, and tough traits made him question her. However, Elliott's fury seemed to stem from a lack of genuineness rather than gender. The West is genuine to him, with a raw history and substance. He thought the film's somber performances and slow-burning emotional intensity didn't fit a true Western's rough-and-tumble spirit. It was more than a quarrel. A full-blown cultural confrontation occurred between two art conceptions, not between men and women or actors and directors. The archetypal cowboy wants gritty realism and moral simplicity. Modern storytellers tell complicated emotive stories via new lenses. No one is fully wrong. Sam Elliott defends his decades-long legacy. Jane Campion, meanwhile, opens up an old frontier to new voices, stories, and viewpoints. It's apparent that The Dog's power did what powerful art should. It started a discourse, challenged long-held beliefs, and made genre gatekeepers rethink the West. The Western evolves whether or not everyone follows in that unsettling zone between memory and creativity, grit and grace. Elliott assaulted Jane Campion and others. The other was a star. Who was it and what happened? Number 5, Benedict Cumberbatch. Sam Elliott also criticized Jane Campion and The Power of the Dog, mentioning Benedict Cumberbatch. Sam didn't find the film moving. It was nearly offensive to him. Sam Elliott is no ordinary film critic. His mustache, gravelly voice, and decades of Western experience make him an emblem of the American frontier. When Sam talks about cowboys, ranch life, or Wild West soul, people listen. He ripped and criticized The Power of the Dog on a podcast, sparking a furious response. He was straightforward. Sam mocked the film's direction and theme from the start. He found his passion when he focused on Benedict Cumberbatch, the film's star. "What the heck does this Brit know about the American West?" Sam inquired frustratedly. Not merely a rhetorical inquiry, a sharp stab. He saw Cumberbatch's tough, emotionally complex cowboy as a stage production rather than a real person. He critiqued more than acting. He defended culture. Sam continued. He criticized Cumberbatch's accent and body language as overdone, theatrical, and out of touch with ranch life. Elliot claims ranch life doesn't involve brooding stares and whispered conversations. It's about hard work, quiet endurance, and people formed by dust, sweat, and loneliness, not stylized trauma or creative symbolism. The film critics and fans reacted quickly. Elliot was called antiquated and narrow-minded by movie fans, including those from the current trend of cinema appreciation. He was dubbed a relic of a dying era, an old cowboy who couldn't adapt. He was accused of gatekeeping, refusing to acknowledge that masculinity could be presented in new and sensitive ways, and that Westerns may change. But if Sam heard the noise, he didn't move. He didn't say sorry. No softening of his message. Indeed, he doubled down. For Elliot, his words weren't offensive. They defended the Western genre he had spent his life advancing. To him, dog power didn't only reinterpret cowboy mythology. It turned it into something unrecognizable and dishonest, in his view. Sam's anger stemmed from faith. Westerns weren't supposed to be psychological or emotional experiments in cowboy hats, he thought. They were tales of stoic people surviving terrible conditions. He felt Cumberbatch's performance dishonored this tradition by misinterpreting it. Though not personal, it was impassioned. Not surprisingly, Benedict Cumberbatch never responded. His respectful quiet may have been guided by studios or instincts. However, production insiders agreed the criticism had affected them. Executives pondered the public response behind closed doors. Some worried that engaging Elliot would oxygenate the tale. Several sought to defend their celebrity. Silence triumphed. No further statement was made. For both of them, Sam had said enough. He had established a boundary between himself and one film, but also between two universes, two methods of presenting stories: tradition, roughness, and unstated feelings, and symbolism, contemplation, and emotional complexity. His statements were more than acting, which made me uncomfortable, about values. He seemed gruff and unchanging to some. Others saw him as a rare voice among a culture preoccupied with reinvention. Sam Elliott taught us that not all stories should be recreated without respecting their roots, love him or hate him. The dog's power discussion remained in cinematic circles after the dust had cooled, but Sam, after speaking his mind, he rode out into the sunset. In true cowboy's fashion, he's played for decades. He did it without fear, apology, or regret. Sam Elliott's vehement criticism wasn't limited to one film or actor. It was about legacy and honoring the past without reinventing it. Whatever you think of him, one thing is certain. What Sam Elliott says about the West is impossible to ignore. Another actor Sam Elliott dislikes, a cowboy he hated. Who's he? Why was he one of his worst actors? Let's elaborate. Number 4. Kevin Costner. Sam Elliott plays more than cowboys. He is one. Without ever sitting in a makeup chair or stepping on a film set, Sam was shaped by the roughness and grind of Western life. He didn't learn toughness. Life taught him toughness under a hot sun, among real ranchers with burnt hands. His boots weren't props. Walking on dust, not a red carpet, made them worn and stained. Raised on cattle, gravel roads, and calloused hands, Sam's West connection was unscripted, inherited, absorbed, lived. His deep, gravelly, sluggish voice echoed a canyon breeze or old saddle leather creaking. People didn't only listen to him. It was sensed. Not an act. It existed. Sam sensed something was awry when Hollywood started making flashy westerns with attractive cowboys. The world welcomed Kevin Costner's rise to cowboy kingdom on Wyatt Earp and Yellowstone. Sam didn't clap, winced. It wasn't personal. Sam didn't detest Kevin Costner, but he didn't like what he saw. Costner appeared like a rodeo-clad man to Sam, not a rodeo expert. Sam informed a friend that he acts like a rancher on Halloween. In his perspective, Costner's gruff charm on screen was charisma. It was polished, commercial, and made for cameras, not lived into. Viewers found Yellowstone honest, powerful, and riveting. Sam thought it was too tidy, staged, loud, and clean with cowboy hats. Yellowstone's West was more fashion than legacy. Sam found it hard to watch. Contrary to widespread belief, it was false. Sam was dissatisfied by the show's massive success, millions of loyal fans, huge ratings, and pop culture stature. Others saw power battles and poetic justice. He saw dramatization and marketing. He thought the show glorified a region and manner of life that didn't require beautifying. The actual West was ugly. It was painful, nasty, cold, and full of unnoticed sacrifices. Yellowstone's makers once tried to get Sam for a cameo. They wanted that voice, that stoic presence, his essence, to strengthen their reality. But Sam declined. Not arrogant or spiteful. He declined since he loved the West for more than sight. It was sacrosanct code: respect, loyalty, endurance. He thought Yellowstone wasn't conserving that. It repackaged. He stated, "It's not Western. Cowboy hat costume drama." In Hollywood, where nostalgia sells by the pound, veterans like Sam are sometimes asked to endorse emerging stars. When Sam and Costner met at award shows or professional parties, the air grew frosty. A source joked that the room cools 10 degrees when they're together. They never made fun of one another or fought publicly. Their silence outshone any quote. Sam's piercing gaze stated it. "You may act, but I've lived." It wasn't pride. It wasn't an ego fight. Sam Elliott didn't play cowboys. Truth was a burden. The American West was born from sleepless nights, silent courage, persistent struggle, and an unbreakable commitment to the land. Not picturesque scenery and manufactured drama. Westerns are just a genre to most actors. Sam sees it as a mission, a moral compass, and a remembrance. He won't wash down, glamorize, or merchandise that legacy. He considers the West a sacred environment and a religious duty to portray it honorably. That's why Sam Elliott is rare now. He didn't only wear the cowboy hat. He earned every dust particle. Sam Elliott gets outraged at even the smallest acting misdeed. Let's investigate another performer who disgraced the profession and angered Elliott. Number 3. Kutcher. To Sam Elliott, acting is more than work. Not only red carpets, hefty paychecks, or people shouting your name. He considers it a sacred craft that requires sincerity, humility, and emotional honesty. Sam considers acting a calling. It's an art form that requires you to be vulnerable, delve deep, and provide something real. Anything below that? Not simply lazy, very offensive. Sam was suspicious when Ashton Kutcher burst onto the Hollywood scene with youthful vitality, charming goofiness, and tech company ambition. He was upset, possibly insulted. For many, Kutcher was the early 2000s showbiz golden boy. The industry loved him for his breakout appearance in That 70s Show, leading rom-coms, and co-founding digital firms. Charm, confidence, and a tremendous following. Elliot didn't see the actor in those, spelled celebrity. When the two were cast in The Ranch, a Netflix comedy drama, most believed they would get along. However, insiders claim it was like two people speaking different languages. Sam didn't object to working with Kutcher, but set workers remembered the tension. He was punctual, delivered his lines, and respected the work. But the air was cold. One crew member said the set was too quiet when they were there. One staffer said Sam said he's a great man, but not an actor. Sam Elliott saw Ashton as more than a co-star. He symbolized everything he thought was wrong with Hollywood. Sam saw modern Hollywood as preoccupied with superficial appeal, fame above substance, image over truth. Cast members who bled for their parts were where, who admired the craft's history and gravity. The system that produced Kutcher's easy smile and off-screen business pursuits looked to have sacrificed grit for shine. Elliott believed in soulful attendance, but Kutcher had a well-managed brand, he thought. Fans were amazed by how successfully they played off one other on screen, despite their off-screen distance. The chemistry worked. Characters linked. Kutcher called Sam a mentor and praised his experience in public interviews. Those who knew Sam well saw it as another show, nothing more than persuading. He mumbled, "He's acting like a YouTube actor," privately. That comment is sharp. The criticism goes beyond Kutcher's approach, a lament. Elliot wasn't concerned with Kutcher's character. He was polite, respectful, and easygoing, according to most. That wasn't enough. The issue wasn't Kutcher's conduct. He represented it. Sam Elliott grew raised in another Hollywood, a place where actors worked hard, struggled with their parts, and gave good performances. He cherished the days when actors respected the stage before reaching for a camera. He believed acting wasn't about trial and error. You researched, felt, and most importantly, lived it. To him, Kutcher represented fast-track culture, viral celebrity, and sudden success. Sam saw a man who had reached celebrity too readily without emotional depth or experience. Not everyone agreed with Sam. Fans adored the ranch, and the contrast between Elliot, the crusty old man, and Kutcher, the modern one. The show was praised for its heart and humor. But Sam was unaffected. The job he was employed for was respected. He didn't see much behind the curtain. A larger question underpins it. Sam Elliott seems to fight silently, the soul of acting. What happened? Celebrity culture, social media influence, and algorithm-driven fame. Has the art lost its center? Do actors still deserve the truth that made them stars? Did they make storytellers? Elliot didn't see Kutcher as the future. His presence reminded him that his beloved industry had changed. Maybe not better. They left the ranch without controversy. There were no fights or text leaks. Two very different men at a peaceful professional distance, one based on tradition, the other on fame's new norms. For those who observed intently, the tale wasn't in their lines. It was in their stillness, the hidden gap between tradition and fashion, between reverence and innovation, between a man who revered performing and Sam, who saw it as a job. Another actor is on Sam's blacklist. It's who? What made Sam Elliott dislike him? Get into the specifics. Second, Nicolas Cage. Sam Elliott can be heard without shouting. His voice is rarely raised. However, his words are carefully chosen. It has history and significance. This actor's stillness can express more than pages of conversation. Sam can move an audience with a look. In his eyes, less is more. This is everything. Next, Nicolas Cage. Sam is a slow fire, Cage an explosion. Bright, loud, and unmistakable. He's erratic, wild, and full of energy on film. Not Cage enters a scene. He charges in, often flipping it. They're in stark contrast. They debuted in Ghost Rider 2007, but may have hailed from separate planets. If Sam Elliott is a peaceful storm, Nicolas Cage is a tornado, said one. That analogy is perfect. Sam is a holdbacker. His art lies in pauses, subtle expressions, and silence. He carefully draws you into his character's world, making you listen. He opposes emotion-inducing. He values earning it. However, Cage enjoys turmoil. He dives into roles, never hesitant to be loud, unusual, or outrageous. Not hesitant to take risks, some call him a genius. Sam saw all that energy as noise, distraction, unneeded, and empty. Cage wasn't untalented. It felt dishonest to Sam. Sam was calm, considerate, and professional during Ghost Rider filming. However, set insiders spotted something peculiar. He and Cage never clicked. They hardly talked, didn't bond between takes, and didn't become friends. One crew member remembered Sam being polite to everyone except Cage. You sense distance. Sam dropped indications in the following interviews, never identifying names, but always indicating meaning. He talked about performers who take over scenes or make movies in circuses. He described performing without soul. He never openly mentioned Cage, but everyone who knew him knew who he meant. Sam reportedly told a pal he's more firecracker than flame in a rare concession. Flashy, but cold. A loud bang without heat. It went beyond criticism. It was sad. Sam wasn't mad, disappointed, because performing is sacred to him. The goal is to connect with truth, not shock people. Cage kept doing what he does best, splitting opinions, winning prizes, and becoming a pop icon. Though contentious, his roles were never uninteresting. Sam Elliott didn't care. If not based on substance, accolades and renown were meaningless. Sam wasn't concerned by the turmoil or loudness. The truth was lost. The best performances don't shout, he says. They whisper. They don't burst. they simmer. He believes real acting isn't about appearance, to be sensed. Today's world favors flamboyant over subtle, yet Sam Elliott is a rare actor. He's unchanged. Not trend-driven,